Hey guys, what's going on? Dr. Frank here with Northtown Chiropractic and Injury Rehab. In today's brief video, I want to walk you through the email that we recently sent out referencing the top 10 exercises that you can do at home if you're suffering from low back pain. As a disclaimer, if you're suffering from pain, don't sleep on it. The sooner you come in for treatment, the sooner we're going to be able to get you back on your feet and feeling better. So without further ado, let's jump right into the email. Now, in this email, I describe a series of 10 exercises, and I explain that I want you to carry them out in a circuit-style workout manner at 10 to 15 repetitions per exercise, holding each stretch for 15 to 30 seconds. So you're going to do a circuit at 10 to 15 repetitions per exercise, holding each stretch for a period of 15 to 30 seconds. If you don't understand what that means, I'm about to show you right now. So starting with exercise number 1, we're going to begin with an activity called plank to pike position. So what you're going to do is presume the natural plank position. So my hands are firmly planted on the ground, my feet are planted behind me about shoulder width apart. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive the palms of my hands into the ground, and I'm going to push up into this pike position. Now you should feel a pretty big stretch throughout your hamstrings and throughout the low back, and then I'm going to lightly let my body rock back down to parallel. Be careful not to dip into extension. For a lot of people, that's going to increase the amount of low back pain they're feeling. So you want to stop at parallel, rock up into pike position, and drop back down into plank. Now, we're going to do this 5 times, but at home, I would encourage you to go through this exercise 10 to 15 times, pausing at the top and releasing back down to plank, going up, pausing at the top, releasing back down to plank, going up, pausing at the top, releasing back down into plank position. I'm only going to do each exercise 5 times just to save time in this video. Now, exercise number 2, you can do in conjunction with the plank to pike position, or if you're unable to carry out that exercise because you have arm problems or you just don't have the strength to do that due to back pain, simply begin with a child's pose. So knees go a little bit wider than shoulder width, your arms are going to stretch out in front of you, and you're just going to relax into this position. And once you're in child's pose, you should feel a stretch throughout your inner groin, and you should feel a release throughout the low back. Now, I would hold this pose for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. You could come back up, you could come to this plank position, kind of wiggle a little bit, loosen things up, and then you can drop back down into that again for another 30 seconds to a minute. Again, if you can't do plank to pike, start on this step. If you can do plank to pike, just move directly into child's pose after. Now, after we complete that, we're going to go on to cat camel. So in this exercise, palms firmly planted on the ground, knees stacked behind us about shoulder width. We're going to start in this kind of quadruped position, and then we're going to go into this cat pose, just like a scared cat on Halloween, feeling that stretch throughout the low back and the mid back, and then releasing forward into cow pose or camel pose. So here we go, cat camel, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very good. After you carry out the cat camel exercise, and when you're doing that, move very slow through that movement. You're going to go right into an exercise called bird dog. So you're going to take opposite arm and opposite leg, raise them into the air, keep your hand pointed straight, keep your toes flexed, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you're going to alternate sides. 1, 2, 3, and then you would do 4 and 5. After we carry out cat camel and bird dog, we're going to move into rotational twist. We remain in the quadruped position, and you're going to take your arm and you're going to open up the side of your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to do the opposite. And you would come onto the opposite side here for a series of 5. Now, when I'm doing that movement, I'm really pushing my planted head down into the ground, and that's where I'm driving most of the rotation from, as well as using my low and my mid back to really try and open up whichever side's hand is in the air. You would carry that out on each side. After you go through the rotational twist, you're going to drop down onto your belly, and you're going to carry out Supermans. So, legs straight out behind you, arms straight out in front of you, point your toes, point your fingers, and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now again, you'd be doing each of these exercises 10 to 15 times, and a lot of these exercises aren't only meant to stretch the low back, but they're also helping you build up the muscles in your low back and build core strength, which is essential for rehabilitation of low back pain or low back injury. After the Supermans, you're going to take your time, and we're going to come onto your back now, and we're going to do pelvic tilts. So with these exercises, when you lay down, you may notice that there's a little bit of space between your low back and the floor where you can slide your hands under. We're going to close that space down by taking the pelvis and rocking it in towards the floor. So I'm taking my pelvis and I'm rocking it down towards the floor. And now if I were to put my hands beneath my low back, there's no longer space there. So taking my pelvis, rocking it down, holding for 30 seconds, releasing. Taking my pelvis, rocking it down, holding for 30 seconds, releasing. And we would do this for a period of 5 times. You can also do this exercise standing against a wall if that's preferable. Now, after we do the pelvic tilts, the next exercise listed is bridges. So you're going to have your feet firmly planted on the ground, arms at your sides. Maybe you can just graze the back of your heels with your fingers, and you're going to press through your heels, through your feet, coming up into this bridge. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. After we complete the bridges, we're going to go knees to chest. So you're going to bring this here, and you're going to tuck in and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a stretch, so 15 to 30 seconds. Release. Bring it back in. 15 to 30 seconds. Release. And you would repeat that probably about 5 times for the knees to chest. After that, we're going to go into rotational knees, followed by the bilateral glute stretch. So rotational knees, what you're doing is you're going to take your knees to one side of your body while taking your arm the opposite direction. And sometimes I'll use my hand to give some overpressure on my knees, so my knees are stacked. I'm rolled over to my left, my right arm is extended out right, and I'm turning my head to the right. I would hold this stretch for probably about 10 to 15 seconds, switch sides. Knees go down and stacked. Now I'm looking the opposite way, and I'm holding that stretch. And I would repeat this activity for about 3 to 5 times per side. Now, after you complete those, the last stretch you're going to wrap up with is a piriformis or a glute stretch. So I'm going to take my right leg, place my ankle just below my left knee. I'm going to lift up, and now I'm stretching through there. And I'm putting my arms right through that little triangular hole that's created in between each of my hamstring muscles. And release, and switch sides. And when you do this stretch, you should really feel most of the pulling coming throughout that piriformis glute area. Once you complete each of those activities, you would then go through that series of a circuit again. So that was one complete circuit, carrying out each exercise anywhere from 5 to 15 repetitions, doing each stretch 5 times, holding each stretch anywhere from 10 seconds all the way up to 30 seconds. It's really patient preference. But now what I would do, that's one circuit completed, I would go through that whole routine again, rest, and then for a third time. and I would recommend completing that circuit for a series of 3 to 5 times. I hope this video helps you guys out and gives you guys some options that you can work with if you're struggling with low back pain at home. As always though, if you do have an injury, please don't hesitate to call us. We're happy to get you in and take a look at things. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.